Good afternoon. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Boat Breakers channel. I'm your host, Pete. If you're looking for some huge cruise giveaways, cruise tours, reviews, and news, some goofy shirts, then this is the place to be. Listen, I know I look like Beetlejuice, but that's besides the point. I need help with this wall behind me. Some of you guys know I just moved here from New Jersey to Florida, and this wall is so blank behind me. I need help with this wall right here. So I'd like to give a quick shout out to our guy, Richard Ludwig. Richard, if you're watching this, thank you again for the super thanks, the $5 donation. Really appreciate that. If you're a subscriber or not a subscriber, we would love for you to come say hi at one of our lives. We go live every Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. I'll see you guys there. Today, unfortunately, I have bad news. We have somewhat of a little cruise war going on and it involves kids. Now, some people love it, some people hate it. You know, it's a sensitive subject. So I'm seeing a trend of Facebook posts that have hundreds of comments of kids ruining their cruises. And the point gets so crazy that a lot of them, admin just turned off the ability to even comment on the post anymore because it's just getting out of hand. It's probably a lot of people arguing my kids should be allowed on. I'm not saying our kids shouldn't be allowed on. I'm just saying supervise your kids, so it probably gets a little dirty in there. Maybe some hair pulling, I don't know. I even saw a 14-year-old post on Facebook. Now, I don't know how 14-year-olds are even allowed to post on Facebook, but check this post out. It says, I'll be the first to admit I'm 14 years old. Feel free to kick me. I would like to quickly respond to some of the posts around about kids running around the ship. I can understand that it must be frustrating to you, but I think it's gone a little too far. I've heard some of the most upsetting things through these groups, and this is world's future. Well, I'm effed. My vacation has yada yada. The post goes on. It's about 3 or 4 paragraphs. Kudos to you, 14 years old, getting in there, defending yourself. What the hell was I doing at 14? Legos? So we have good kids, we have bad kids, and well, we have good kids that follow bad kids. And I understand, I get it. I played Ding Dong Ditch as a kid. I would go up the doorbell and ring it at night and run away because I thought it was cool because everyone was doing it. What makes this so sticky and controversial is that people pay thousands of dollars to go on their cruise. Maybe they go on one vacation a year, maybe not, and they want to relax and, kids are stopping them from relaxing. Let's talk about it. A lot of people like to cruise with their family, so they bring their kids. And can you believe they said I wasn't allowed to bring my kid? While we all have our fair share of stories, I'd like to share 2 of my stories in particular. The first story being last summer in June when I was on The Legend. If you come to our lives, I probably told you this story before, but I was trying to get into a jacuzzi where there was a bunch of kids in the jacuzzi, and I saw something so gross that I almost ran away and puked. So there was a little girl in the jacuzzi, and she had ice cream, and she was, nya, I love ice cream. And she was eating the ice cream, and then the ice cream fell in the jacuzzi, and I'm like, I don't want to swim in ice cream, but that's not the gross part. The gross part is she picked up the cone with ice cream was gone, by the way. It was gone. It became soup. They were just in ice cream soup at this point. Picked it up, and it was like falling apart because it was like mush. It was like throwing bread in some water, and it was just all mush. And she like had it like this, the cone, that's mush. And she just ate it like that. She ate it. She ate the jacuzzi water cone like this. Now, that's way different from my next story of kids running down the hall and banging on the door at like 3 a.m. because that thing that she didn't bother me, but it will bother her health. It could be a serious problem if the parents aren't supervising. Next story is one you've probably heard before. It's literally everywhere. I don't know why it's so funny, but kids run around at 2 or 3 a.m. banging on doors through the hallways. Now, I know Carnival said strict curfews in place, but doesn't seem like they're being enforced, especially since these kids, I caught them. I opened the door because I was looking through a little eye hole because, I watched Home Alone before. I am Home Alone. But I caught them. They were young. They had to be like 10 years old just banging on doors at night. And, that's not acceptable. And you got to blame the parents. I'm sorry. You got to blame the parents. Actually, I'm not sorry because I think it's quite simple. I think we all know that the problem on the cruise is often not the children, but the lazy parents that are not parenting while they're on their vacation. There's an infinite amount of reasons why you should bring your kids on a cruise with you or vacation with your kids in your family. But there's a couple small reasons why you shouldn't bring your kids on the vacation if you don't intend on supervising. So let's talk about safety. Being on a cruise ship is like being in a small city that you can't escape, full of strangers and hazards. You got high balconies, decks, pools, jacuzzis, hot foods, utensils, drunk strangers. It's a cornfield of hazards. On top of that, you got inappropriate behavior from drunk adults. Now, what I mean by this is if your kid sneaks into a rated R comedy show, if a child sees the hairy man contest where people are grinding and dancing on people, you've all seen it, I'm sure, and if you haven't, I mean, it's not for children. So again, inappropriate behavior, really not, some of these things aren't really appropriate for kids. And this isn't all kids, it's probably not your kid, but you know, there's always going to be bad apples. You know, kids often follow other kids so that they can fit in and they can feel cool as well. Kids are very social creatures, so they seek approval from their fears. And I know that you know there's a very special word that always comes into play when we're talking about seeking approval, and it's called peer pressure. We've all been there. So the advice I always was given when I got in big trouble by my father, thank you, Dad, it wasn't really advice. It was more about screaming in my face, and it was simple and it was easy to follow. It was one line: don't be a follower, be a leader. And in all transparency, I don't have kids. I don't know how the game goes. I can't sit here and give advice on parenting. I'm gonna leave you with this. You can't ban bad parents, but you can ban kids. Now, that sounded cooler, but what I mean is you can go on cruises that don't allow kids. You can't ban a bad parent, but you can go on a cruise that doesn't allow kids. When you're booking your next cruise, do me a favor, do you a favor, do everyone a favor, and carefully consider your cruise preferences and priorities when selecting the cruise line. Just select a cruise that aligns with your preferences, and please, please, please be safe out there. We keep seeing crazy stuff pop up in the news on cruises. Be safe out there, and I will catch you guys in the next video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you're rocking with me, leave a comment that you're rocking with me. Peace. See you guys later.